With a WWE star potentially lying about his contract and more, this is Wrestling Hub. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official and follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. On his FTR podcast, Dax Harwood responded to claims that he has been complaining about AEW in the locker room, saying, "I want the fans to understand this. These journalists, Dave Meltzer, Brian Alvarez, even guys like Sean Sapp, who I do have a little bit of respect for, right? All of these journalists who are telling you a story, right? They're telling you a story from their living room or from their studio or wherever it is that they record their gimmicks. They're not in the locker room. The people that are telling them, they're the ones who are spinning the story. These people don't see it firsthand. They don't know if I've complained. They don't know what happened with CM Punk and the Elite. They don't really know. They know what they've been told. I'm not just saying those two instances, I'm saying for everything. They only know what they've been told, and the people that tell them are the exact same people that tell them everything all the time. And they tell them that with their own agenda in mind, right? Whenever we started the podcast, right, and Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez were saying, oh, everybody is pissed off at Dax. Oh, everybody is so mad at Dax. Do you know why they said that? Because I know for 100% fact who told them. And I know why they said that. Because one individual, and I'm sure there were people upset, I'm not saying that. And I know this because the locker room told me one individual went into the locker room and openly said, I can't believe he's talking about that. I can't believe he's saying that. I can't believe he's doing that. That same individual went to the dirt sheets, and I know it for a fact, and said, I can't believe he's saying that. Everybody is upset with him because they want that narrative out there. I guarantee you that the person that I'm talking about is the person or people you guys think I'm talking about. What I'm saying is, make your own assumption. Come meet us at a convention or whatever and make your own assumption. Don't do it through a dirt sheet or whatever perception you want to get from a journalist. Because I'm telling you right now, my quote-unquote complaining is coming from a place of passion. Because I want FTR to be the best they possibly can be, but above FTR, I want professional wrestling to be the best it possibly can be. And now I'll get off my soapbox from that. I hope the fans either listen to it and appreciate what I said, or just fast forward through this. Talking about potential feuds for the Hurt Business if the faction reunites in WWE, Bobby Lashley told Denise Salcedo, Roman's on top of the business. He's been doing everything, and now he has backup, which makes him even more dangerous. I'd like to be able to do a program with him at some time. I think the Hurt Business and the Bloodline would be a good little feud to have, and hopefully we can get the Hurt Business back together. If we do that, put it against the Bloodline, and let's see who's better. For that same interview, Lashley said this about his previous rivalry with Brock Lesnar, noting that everybody likes the big programs, but I've been in the ring with almost everyone. Some of the big names that I'd like to really do stuff with, I think me and Brock still have unfinished business. So I think once they give us an opportunity to get some real time and just really go at it, I think that's going to be one of the big staple matches of my career. With Cody Rhodes breaking a throne in AEW in an apparent shot at Triple H, he said this to SI Media about having a conversation with the head of WWE Creative regarding it. It's not mentioned. I'd love it to be mentioned eventually because I still have my broken throne at the Nightmare Factory. I was in the warehouse the other day with WWE and there is the throne. Mine is a replica. There is some imagery, some iconography that could be utilized for a show potentially. I'd love for it to eventually be talked about. One thing that was really nice, a conversation that him and I did have, and I didn't share this until recently, was when I won the Ring of Honor World Championship. I hadn't spoken to Triple H since I left, and I just got a one-word text from him that said congrats. This is a Ring of Honor show, ends at 1 a.m. essentially. Working here, there are a bazillion shows and things you're doing. I was glad. I found out later he watched every bit of it. He kept tabs on me. He has his finger on the pulse of what the young fans and the young roster is into. When it came to the preparations for Steve Austin's comeback match at last year's WrestleMania, it was said that Fightful Select had reported in January of 2022 that WWE was planning to bring Stone Cold Steve Austin out of retirement. Austin himself had been hesitant since his initial 2003 retirement and was very particular about how the right situation would present itself. Not only that, Fightful has learned that Vince McMahon was also very particular in making sure that Austin was ready for his impromptu WrestleMania match that would main event the show. We're told that Vince McMahon and Drew Gulak flew to Stone Cold Steve Austin's ranch in Texas. Drew Gulak was running drills with Austin, and Austin started calling out spots to Gulak almost in full character. Gulak went with it, and the two effectively had a long match at the ranch. Gulak also ended up working with Vince McMahon. One WWE higher-up said, "The funniest thing about all of this wasn't that Vince flew all the way out there, took Drew Gulak with him, and made sure that Austin could still go. It's that while he did all that to make sure that Austin was good to go, he knew he was planning to wrestle himself, knew he sucked, still did it, and ended up having one of the worst matches and stunner cells of all time after." Taking to Facebook to make an odd post, former WWE star Marty Jannetty wrote, "Hey, I'm only posting this because I just got asked again if Sean, aka HBK, and I ever had sex, since some of you think he's gay. Truth is, I don't love dick. I doubt he did, and that's why the gay community called him potentially the pitcher, not the catcher. LOL. But so, we roomed together 1 trillion plus 7 times. Saw him perform only with ladies. If I was gonna be that way, I'd have went to someone else. LOL. Maybe Pat Patterson so I too could leave MJ behind and become champion. 101. Now stop bothering me with those silly sex questions. I'm all about the ladies. Ask my neighbor girls. LOL." Marty Jannetty followed that up with another post, one that was a bit shorter, but it had quite a message. "I feel gay, but I'm pretty sure I like women. LOL." On his Grilling JR podcast, Jim Ross mentioned the possibility of CM Punk making an AEW comeback, with him not having been seen since All Out last September. "I think it's sold out." Raphael called me and I said, "How are things going, ticket sale wise?" He mentioned to me that the Toronto show had sold out. That's good. Good for the home team. All good stuff, baby. But anyway, sellouts. Good. Anytime you get a sellout, you're doing something right. I think we're doing something right. I just got a feeling that big things are on the way. Getting everybody healthy again and back on the roster again is important. Of course, the whole question is going to center around, will CM Punk ever be back? I'm one of those guys that believe he will be back. We'll see. I think AEW needs CM Punk because of his star power, and he brings. With controversy creates cash, and he's certainly controversial. I'm a big fan of Phil's. We'll see how it works out. I'm optimistic and positive. Giving an update on the status of Brian Cage and AEW, Dave Meltzer revealed on Wrestling Observer Radio, Brian Cage is finishing up. It's what I hear is that he's finishing up, unless they sign him to a new deal. If they do, then he's not finishing up. His deal has expired, but he has agreed to do business and drop the belts on the way out if he isn't signing a new deal. Talking about the possibility of Goldberg joining AEW now that he is no longer under a contract with WWE, Eric Bischoff said this on his Strictly Business podcast. "I doubt Goldberg needs the money. That rush doesn't get any better than the rush he's had in WWE. He could possibly, I guess, make a really sweet deal, and hey, business is business. Bill's all about business. Don't think he's not. But unless he's really money motivated, I don't see that happening. Guess what happens to everybody else who has been in the witness protection program for the last year and a half? They can't get a phone call returned or an email responded to who were just sitting at home." He questioned, "If that were to happen, yes, there's a lot of opportunity, but there are some unintended consequences that come along as well. It's just part of it." Touching on future plans for the WWE Hall of Famer, Sean Ross Sapp reported that we're told that the booking in Israel that was mentioned for Goldberg was a pitch for him to work a match there. Taking to Facebook, the wife of superstar Billy Graham had this to say as far as a health update goes. Things are horribly difficult. Wayne is struggling and still not home. I was in the ER this weekend still testing positive for COVID, shortness of breath, severe coughing, and said it's inflammation and bronchitis from COVID. This is horrible, and going through it alone is getting harder every day. I just had a call from the nursing facility, and Wayne has refused all of his meds today. He's dealing with a lot of confusion and depression. He's still 100% deaf and has now lost 65 pounds. It's breaking my heart not being able to see him. This Friday will be 12 weeks since he's been home. And now on top of everything else, I have to figure out how to come up with his Medicare copay. The nursing facility called this morning to tell me he's reached the cap, so now back to paying $200 a day out of pocket. I have no idea where that money will come from. It can get very overwhelming, but I know the Lord is with us and he will provide. Thank you for your constant prayers. With two different stories regarding Logan Paul's WWE contract, Dave Meltzer noted on Wrestling Observer Radio in June, WWE announced that Logan Paul has signed a multi-year contract, and then this week, Logan Paul said that his contract expires with WrestleMania, so somebody's not telling the truth here. WWE sent out a press release, they announced it, multi-year contract. And this was your Pro Wrestling News Update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all later.